His name is Shuki Levy, and he might be one of the most prolific television theme song composers of all time. And as you're about to hear, Shuki Levy says he knew from a young age this is something he wanted to do. So I'm going to get to the Power Rangers and the kids' TV composing in a moment, but I want to go back to your childhood. You were born and raised in Israel. What role did music play in your life when you were young?
A big role, actually. My father's family, who immigrated from Russia, were very, very involved with music. Actually, he had 2 or 3 even cousins who were musicians with the Moscow Symphony Orchestra. And I had a brother and a sister who were much older than me, and they were into music at a very, very young age. So there was always music at the house.
When did you know that this was something you wanted to do, not just as a hobby, but something you wanted to do professionally?
Probably when I was 10 or 11.
Really?
I was very much into music, and I wanted to learn how to play the guitar. And my father couldn't afford to buy me a guitar, but he came home one day with a little harmonica, and he said to me, if you teach yourself to play the harmonica, then I'll see that you're serious about music. Then I'll consider buying you a guitar. So I taught myself to play the harmonica, and next I got a guitar, and I taught myself how to play it.
I want to talk a little bit about your children's television theme songs and your television theme songs, but I want to go back even a little bit further, because before you did that, you did this. That's my guest, Shuki Levy, as one half of the duo Shuki and Aviva. The song Signorina. Where does that take you when you listen to that? What goes through your head?
Oh my God, that's like a lifetime ago. A lifetime ago. I've done so much since.
How do you go from writing a song like that and performing a song like that and having a hit to composing television show themes?
Oh, it was a long journey. We had many hits with Shuki and Aviva after that. And we were successful in many countries, many territories. And then after a few years with that, I felt that I need to move on. And I moved to LA and met with a French producer named Jean Chalopin, who was in town to start a new television show called Inspector Gadget. And he recognized me from France, and we met. He asked me if I can compose the theme, and I thought that'll be fun. So that was my first steps into cartoon music, was Inspector Gadget.
Well, let's take a listen to that theme song right now. This is the theme song for Inspector Gadget. That is the theme song to the incredibly popular cartoon Inspector Gadget. If you're just tuning in, my name's Tom Power. You're listening to Q. And my guest right now is the composer behind that and so many other classic theme songs, Shuki Levy. Shuki, that Inspector Gadget theme is one of the most recognizable pieces of music. I know whenever I pick up my guitar and I play and people know what it is immediately. How did you come up with that one?
I committed to do the theme, and I was busy doing other things, but I did book a session with a couple of musicians, friend of mine, to record this theme. And on the morning of the recording, I still didn't have the theme, and I was on my way to the studio, and I started hearing it as I was driving on the way to Studio City to record it. So it's one of those themes that came to me without any instrument. Usually I'll play the guitar or the piano to try and, compose something. This one just started playing in my head.
Did I read somewhere it was inspired by in the Hall of the Mountain King?
Somewhat. I mean, it wasn't intentionally so, but I was always influenced by all kind of classical music, so it wasn't planned. But I think it was more influenced by Pink Panther, actually, because Jean Chalopin, the producer of the show, the whole Inspector Gadget idea was kind of based on the Pink Panther. And
did you know immediately when you were humming it on your way to the studio that, oh yeah, this is it, this is definitely the one?
Yes, absolutely, because I couldn't get it off my mind. It was like one of those things that for days afterwards I was walking around humming it. Drove me crazy. But yes, yeah, absolutely.
I want to hear another piece of music that you worked on. Take a listen to this. That was a bit of the theme song to the 80s cartoon He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I'm here with its composer, Shuki Levy. What do you remember about making the He-Man theme song?
When Inspector Gadget was released, it was almost immediately a hit. I'm talking about the music had huge success all over Europe and other territories. So we were approached by Filmation, who was producing He-Man, and we met with them, and they showed me some storyboards. That's all they had at the time of the animated show, and asked me if I'll compose a theme. Yeah, it started the ball rolling with many other themes because at the time there was no such thing as a cartoon theme making it big in terms of record sales and radio plays and all this. So it was pretty a new kind of a thing. So yeah, I think He-Man was my second after Inspector Gadget.
Let's listen to the final song. That's the theme song for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That song composed by and sung by Ron Wasserman, who worked with my guest Shuki Levy back then. Shuki, Ron's talked about making that theme song, and he said he was told to come up with something that used the word "go" an awful lot. Tell me how you remember it. What was the thinking behind that song?
We were extremely busy at the time, my partner Chaim Saban and I, and we had to record this theme song, and we were sitting in the studio, and actually it was Chaim Saban who said to me, you know what, you need to come up with something like Inspector Gadget, something that has, like Go Gadget Go, something. And so I started humming kind of on the spot, Go Go Power Rangers, and that's how it was born, like right there in the studio.
What do you think it is about that Power Rangers theme song? I mean, as soon as I hear it, it brings me right back to my childhood being in grade 1 and being obsessed with the Green Power Ranger because he had my name, What was it about the Power Rangers theme song you think that made it so iconic, so loved by fans?
I think it's the rhythm. It's a fast rock, very exciting kind of a track. And it went really well with the fast-moving images of almost like a live-action cartoon with mainly the Japanese footage that we were using at the time. So I think it was a fantastic combination.
And speaking of, you directed the pilot of that got Power Rangers on the air. Is that right?
Yes. There was a pilot I wrote and directed that never made it to the air. It was the first time I directed anything. But that took place about 6 years prior to us getting on the air. I mean, for 6 years, my partner at the time, Chaim Saban, was walking around with our pilot, and nobody wanted to put it on the air. They thought it's totally silly.
So how does this happen? It's this Japanese show, action show, that you guys had written kind of interstitials for. How does this all come about?
We were very involved with cartoon music at the time already. So Chaim Saban came back from some kind of a convention. I think it was MIP TV. And he brought with him the toys, the Japanese toys of Power Rangers, and a video cassette. And he said, take a look at this show. It's a huge hit in France. In Japan, it's been running for like 10 or 15 years. Maybe we can do something with it. And I looked at it. I thought it's totally wacky. It's crazy. I mean, but I kind of liked it. So the original idea was maybe we should just dub it into English and release it, which I didn't like much. And then we discussed other option, and the idea was to just keep the Japanese footage, because once they're in costumes, you don't see who it is, and shoot all the rest and come up with our own story that's not related at all to what the Japanese script is about. And so it was, my first attempt at writing a script and directing. We had very little money. We did it at a very, very low budget, and we shot a pilot. half-hour pilot. Funny enough, the Red Ranger in that pilot was a guy named Mark Dacascos, who went on then to become the host of Iron Chef America. And but Mark and the rest of the team, the cast, didn't make it to the air because it took us like almost 7 years to sell the show. So they got a little too old to play teenagers, and yeah, that's how it started.
And then it goes on to mean it completely consumed my childhood. And I think a lot of people listening to this remember the Power Rangers very fondly, whether it's the spin-offs, the toys, the feature film in 95. And now this new reboot hits theaters. I know you're no longer a part of the Power Rangers franchise necessarily, but I know you're still composing music. What do you miss? How do you reflect on that moment when the Power Rangers hit it big?
Oh, it was it became bigger than we thought it's going to be. I mean, we really believed in it, and we thought it's going to be a hit, but we didn't expect it to be so big, and so it took us a little by surprise, and then we had to catch up with producing so many episodes back to back. We worked really, really hard for the first couple of years trying to, produce a lot of stories and episodes, and we were always dependent on a portion of the show, which was the Japanese footage that came from Japan. So there was a lot of coordination, trying to create stories around material that already exists. It was challenging, but it was fun. We enjoyed that.
I don't think it's an exaggeration, and I really thank you for your time, but I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that like the music that you've made is instantly recognizable. You've been doing this for a very, very long time, and with all respect, you've done very, very well for yourself. You've been well paid for your work, but I know you're still actively composing music. You're still working. You could easily be lying on a beach somewhere with a margarita in your hand. What keeps you going?
Oh, that'll be so boring. I don't consider it work. I don't think I ever considered it work. I have fun doing it. I enjoy doing it. So, and I always believe if I like it and truly have fun with it, then children will like it too. Because I think we're all children still inside. We're just pretending to be adults. But for me, I don't look at it as work. I mean, I have to be creative all the time. So I write and compose all the time.
Shuki Levy, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you today.
Same here. Thank you so much.